And, time for a sports roundup. And Dave, Father Matt Frisbee standing by and ready to talk about every sport except probably golf.
Good morning, Father Matt.
Good morning, Dave and Ron. Good to be with you and all the listeners this morning. And, here we are on a sports roundup. Something I wanted to talk about last week, and we just didn't have the time, was in the world of hockey, which we rarely talk about. But, there was the Four Nations kind of face-off, or whatever they were calling it. United States, Canada, Sweden, Finland, I believe it was. And, of note, there was that first matchup between the United States and Canada,
right,
in which, there were Canadians booing during the American national anthem, and within the first 9 seconds of the game, there were 3 fights. So we saw that, and the Americans won that battle, and then later last week, the Canadians and the Americans played again, and the Canadians got revenge in that one. So that was kind of a big talk as people, and I think this was kind of their revamping of the NHL All-Star Game, and that got a lot of attention. And you think about these All-Star games, in the NFL, no one watches the Pro Bowl. That's just completely forgotten, and no one cares. The NBA All-Star Game is a joke. They don't play defense at all. No one really paid attention to the NHL All-Star Game, but this year it became something that people kind of paid a little bit of attention to. And then even the MLB, baseball All-Star Game, the Midsummer Classic, as we've known it, has lost a lot of its luster as well. So that at least brought a little bit of, attention to hockey when normally it doesn't. And, as we at least have warmer weather right now, we normally don't think hockey. But we'll see how long we have this warmer weather, too.
Well, hockey goes almost year-round.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there is a great irony about hockey, and we don't talk about it very often. A couple things. Firstly, we think about the teams that have been winning the Stanley Cup finals have been teams from warm weather climates, Florida Panthers, Tampa Bay Lightning. The Las Vegas Golden Knights won it there a couple of years ago. And then, the Stanley Cup Finals goes into June. A great irony, I think, of playing hockey in the middle of the summer. But with that as well, they start probably, I think, in October as well. So you're right. I mean, it is just about a year-long endeavor for those who especially enjoy watching it. Now, just thinking about who's won the Stanley Cup and a little bit of that, we could say animosity between the United States and Canada with that. A Canadian team from the National Hockey League has not won the Stanley Cup Finals since 1993.
Oh, my
in the
goodness.
Montreal. I know. I couldn't believe that until I saw this the other day. Montreal Canadiens won it back in 93, and that's the last Canadian team to have won the Stanley Cup Finals.
Wow, that's amazing.
Well, you know what shocks me, Father, and we want to bring attention to all these sports, right? But when you look at the number of people who have eyes on these sports, it's so few. I mean, you talk about the NBA, you could talk about the NHL, you could talk about the WNBA. Now that's up to 8, 9 people. But I'm just saying, there's just not that many people watching much in our. You still have football. Football reigns, of course. Baseball still has a pretty decent number of eyes when you start looking at the number of games. But a lot of these other sports aren't building their audiences; they're actually losing them.
Yeah, that's right. The other day, after this little scuffles between the United States and Canada teams, PK Subban, I think his last name is, played hockey for a little while. He was on one of these talking head shows on ESPN, and it was just talking about the difference between the NHL and the NBA, and at least why hockey still retains its fans. You're right. They don't have as many as they used to. And part of that is, he said, there's a certain level of pride that hockey players bring every night. And there's not the workload maintenance that you see, especially in the NBA, where guys will just take games off, for kind of trying to maintain their bodies. Now, I'll say 82 basketball games over a season that does add up, but they're getting paid the big bucks too. So, and you hear some of those older players in the NBA. I mean, think of Charles Barkley. I think especially has come out and said, "Look, people are coming to see you play, and you're getting paid a lot. You may be tired, but don't you think that guy who's working in the steel mill every day is tired as well? He doesn't get to take days off." And Charles Barkley's got a point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he often does, and I enjoy him. I lived in the town that he was from for a while, and he makes a lot of sense, and then sometimes he says really stupid stuff, but that's okay. But here's the thing.
We all.
Yeah. The more they bring politics and all the other stuff into a sport, the less people watch, and I would think that people are starting to learn that. I don't go to a movie to see political stuff. I don't go to see a sporting event to see political stuff. Let me just do the thing I'm there to do.
Yeah, and you think about, say, sports, movies, all of that's entertainment. And it's really meant to be a little bit of an escape from the hustle and bustle of our daily lives. So even though we talk about the sports roundup every week, that's why everyone should keep listening every Tuesday. But, this is all just a little bit of a mini diversion for us in the midst of the things that are really important in our lives, too. Our faith, our family, our work, those are the things that really matter.
Amen. And, of course, that little escape, it gives us, a kind of a good feeling to be able to watch something that isn't costing us any effort. I can watch baseball all day, you know what I mean? Without breaking a sweat.
Believe me, it's a good thing God called me to be a priest, because I could watch football all weekend long. Football, I can watch it all day Saturday. I can watch it all day Sunday. And God had to break me of that, so he called me to be a priest.
I love it, and we're glad you are. Now, we just learned of the passing of Larry Dolan of the Guardians, or the Indians. I think he goes back to Indians, yeah. Been the owner of for a long time. Passed away at the age of 94.
Passed away at the age of 94. Bought. At the time they were the Indians, and I think that was around either 2000, 2001, or 2002, somewhere right around there. Bought them on a big deal at the time. I think it was about for $575 million. Wow. Of course, the team's valued at a lot more now. But the longest serving owner of the Indians, Guardians, no one has, it's 20-some years, and I don't think anyone's been the owner for nearly that long. So, but it's still within the family. Paul Dolan, his son, has really been running the operation for the last however many years as well, too. So, speaking of that, really, baseball games begun over the weekend. Indians, Guardians played the Reds on Saturday. I'm sure the Tigers started as well. So we are now into the thick of spring training, games, and getting ready for the season, which will be here before we know it.
And I can just picture this meeting of Mr. Dolan with the Lord, and I hope the Lord said to him, "Well done, thou good and faithful servant, enter into the joy of thy Lord." But also, what a dumb name. I was inspiring you with other names, and the Guardians was not it. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry.
Well, that's right. We can talk about whether or not change the name, but if we're going to do it, let's pick a better name than Guardians.
Yeah. I love it when the Guardians play the Angels. That's anyhow.
That's right.
The Guardian Angels tonight at 7.
Father Matt Frisbee, thank you so much. Have a great day.